السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له. نشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وما أمروا إلا ليعبدوا الله مخلصين له الدين حنفاء ويقيموا الصلاة ويؤتوا الزكاة وذلك دين القيمة. وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم: إنما الأعمال بالنيات وإنما لكل امرئ ما نوى، فمن كانت هجرته إلى الله ورسوله فهجرته إلى الله ورسوله، ومن كانت هجرته لدنيا يصيبها أو امرأة ينكحها فهجرته إلى ما هاجر إليه. صدق الله العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم، ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us numerous blessings. For amongst those blessings that He has given us is health and wealth. From amongst the blessings that He has given us are family and friends. From amongst the blessings that He has given us is to live in a place where we can worship our Allah freely and openly. And from amongst the greatest blessing that He has given us is our Iman and our Islam. Anytime we perform an action, there are two prerequisites or two preconditions that need to be kept in mind for an action to be accepted in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number one is that action that you are performing is in accordance to the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number two, that action that you perform is solely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and for no one else. And if you look at the definition of ikhlas, Imam Raghib al-Asfahani, he mentions in his Mufradat that al-ikhlas huwa at-ta'arri amma dun Allah. At-ta'arri amma dun Allah, which means ta'arri, uryan means to be naked. So you're free from anything. What's the concept here? That your mind is free from anything and everything besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you are performing that deed, the only individual that you are performing that deed for is for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nobody else. Not your mom, not your dad, not your brother, not your wife, your spouse. No one else should be in that equation except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's for that reason you'll see many of the hadith works, they begin with the hadith of Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu an, which this hadith has been narrated by at least 20 other Sahaba as well. But the narration of Umar radiyallahu an is mentioned that, and you've heard this hadith multiple times, that إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ, that your actions are based off of your intentions. وَإِنَّمَا لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مَّا نَوَى, and for every individual is what they intend. فَمَنْ كَانَتْ هِجْرَتُهُ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ فَهِجْرَتُهُ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. If they do a migration, if they do any action for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then they'll be rewarded, and their reward will be according to that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give them the reward for that. فَهِجْرَتُهُ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. وَمَنْ كَانَتْ هِجْرَتُهُ لِدُنْيَا يُصِيبُهَا أَوْ امْرَأَةٍ يَنْكِحُهَا فَهِجْرَتُهُ إِلَى مَا هَاجَرَ إِلَيْهِ. If you perform any action, you do a migration for the sake of materialistic gains, for the sake of job, for the sake of getting a better position, for the sake of marrying so and so individual, then your intention is based off of that. Your action is based off of that intention. Very straightforward. So, anytime and every time we perform any deed, from the time we wake up until we go to sleep, we always want to think twice that why am I doing this deed? For whom am I performing this action? Did somebody tell me to do it? Or am I doing it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? When I come to the masjid, why am I coming to the masjid? Am I coming for a meeting? Am I coming to meet so and so brother? Am I coming to meet so and so sister? Or am I coming to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Very fundamental aspect of our deen. If the foundation is weak and it's shaky, then the amal that you do is not going to bring you much benefit. You could perform as much ibadah, you can read as much Quran, but if that intention is not for the sole purpose of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then that action can go to waste. And even more than that, it can be a curse against you as well. Like the case when people recite the Quran. We were covering in our Nahu class, رُبَّ تَالٍ يَلْعَنُهُ الْقُرْآنَ. That there are many reciters that the Quran curses based off of hadith. There are many reciters that when they recite the Quran, who are they reciting for? Are they reciting to show the people? Are they reciting for their parents? Are they reciting for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? What's their purpose of recitation? What's the purpose of beautifying their voice? It's something that we need to think of. Not that we go out and judge people that have beautiful voice or anything of that sort, but that's between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That why am I reciting in this way? Why am I performing this action? Because the deed is the same. It's that internal aspect that we need to fix, or that we need to pay heed to. And there's a incident that took place between a father and a son, whom both are from amongst the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum wa du'an. One day, Abu Yazid, he went out. أخرج دنانير يتصدق بها فوضعها عند رجل في المسجد. So one day Yazid, he goes to the masjid and he gives sadaqah to an individual. فوضعها عند رجل في المسجد. He gives sadaqah to this individual that when you see anybody that's in need, I want you to give him this sadaqah on my behalf. So the son, معا, he states, فجئت فأخذتها فأتيته بها. He goes to the masjid and that man sees معا and he goes up to him and he says, here's this sadaqah. Man goes and he takes it from him. He accepts it. He didn't forcefully go and take it from him. He was in need, so he gave it to him. He received it. Father comes, says, how did you get that money? That money wasn't for you. I gave that as sadaqah to that man so he can give it to somebody else. How in the world did it come in your hands? So they're going back and forth, father and son, father and son. They go to the Prophet ﷺ. They're both amongst the Sahaba, right? So they can just go to the Prophet ﷺ. They go to the Prophet ﷺ. And before they went, he said, "Wallahi ma iyyaka arat." I didn't want to give it to you. My intention wasn't to give you that sadaqah. So they went and disputed and they went to the Prophet ﷺ. فقال, the Prophet ﷺ, beautiful statement. He said, لَكَ مَا نَوَيْتَ يَا يَزِيدُ وَلَكَ مَا أَخَذْتَ يَا مَعًا. Oh Yazid, he's talking to the father, you intended to give this sadaqah to somebody in need, and your son is somebody in need. So that intention that you have, even though your own blood received that wealth, that sadaqah, you're still going to be rewarded for that action, because you gave it with the niyyah of giving it to somebody that is muhtaj, giving it to somebody that's in need. And then he went and he turned to Ma'an. He said, وَلَكَ مَا أَخَذْتَ يَا مَعَنْ. O Ma'an, you received this money in a permissible manner. So your deed that you perform is also correct. You didn't usurp it, you didn't steal it from, you didn't forcefully take it. What you received is correct, and what you gave is also correct. You'll be rewarded for that. And that's how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rewards those individuals that do things for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One hadith, one other story I wanted to mention, if I can summarize it real quick in a few minutes, that there was 3 individuals that went out on a journey, and nighttime came, so they resided in the cave to go to sleep. And as they went to the cave, a big boulder came, and it fell at the entrance of the cave. So some of them, they started talking, and they said that nothing is going to save us until we supplicate to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by mentioning a virtuous deed that we have done in the past. So there's 3 individuals. One of them said that I had parents who were very old, and I used to offer them milk every single day before any of my children or any of my slaves. So one day I went out and we were grazing, and one thing led to another, and it got a little bit late at night. I brought the milk and I saw them. They were both sleeping. I didn't want to wake them up. I didn't want to wake them up because I didn't want to ruin their sleep. But I also didn't want to give that milk to my children first, out of etiquette for my parents. So I stood there the entire night until my parents woke up, and I gave them the milk. And he said, "Oh Allah, if I did this for your sake and your pleasure only, move this rock away from us and allow us to leave." So the rock moved, the boulder moved, but not enough for them to escape. Second individual came. He said, I had a cousin whom I really, really loved. And I wanted to have relations with her, but she always refused. Then a year came which was a very bad drought. So she approached me and I gave her some money so we could do the inappropriate action. And as they were getting ready to perform that inappropriate action, she told him that ittaqillah, that fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and do not allow me to lose my virginity in this manner, in this unhalal, in this haram fashion. So when the man heard this, right at that point, he left whatever he was doing. He got up. That money that he gave, he left it with her, and he just left. And he said, "Oh Allah, if I did this for your sake and your sake only, remove this distress, remove this boulder from our side." So the boulder moved, but not enough for them to get up. Third individual, he came and he said that I hired some workers, and I paid them their wages except for one individual. One individual forgot to get his check and he went home. He left. So that money that I was supposed to give him, I invested his money in a business, and mashallah, that business flourished because of that. He used that particular money that he was supposed to give to this worker. So after some time, the worker remembered that he forgot to pick up his check from the office. He went to the boss, and he said that can you pay me my dues? I didn't pick it up. I didn't pick up my check. So you see all of those camels, those cows, those slaves, and those goats, all of that's all yours. He said, don't joke with me like that. It's not funny. Okay, it's not funny. It's not time to joke. When it comes to money, I don't joke. I said, don't joke with me like that. He said, no, I'm serious. All of this is all yours. Again, he told him, it's not funny. We're not joking right now. We're not joking. Please, just give me what you're supposed to give me, and I'm going to leave. He said, this is all yours. Okay. After he told him that, he realized that what he was saying was really true. And he took all of those animals in our day, all of those Camrys and Hondas and Teslas or whatever you want to think. He took all of them and he went home. So the man said that if I did this for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and for you only, then oh Allah, remove this distress and remove this boulder from us. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala removed this boulder and they were able to get out. Not because of the deed itself, but because of that intention, that sincere intention that they had behind the deed. So they had ikhlasun niyyah. They didn't just have niyyah, they didn't just have intention. Everybody can just have intention. Oh Allah, make intention. Yeah, brother, make intention. Yes, everybody can have that intention. But to have that sincerity with that intention, that's what's key. And there's many avenues to get to Jannah. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. You make that, you strive for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will open up doors for you. But you have to put in that effort. You have to make that intention, and that intention has to be sincere. So our take-home point for today is any time and every time we perform an action, the question needs to come into our mind, is this action in accordance to our deen? Number 2, for any and every action that I perform, am I performing it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone? We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us sincerity. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us a sincere intention. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.